Hello everyone, Warangel here, and welcome back to the Caliphate of Araby Let's Play. Now last episode we managed to secure the Land of Assassins over to the west by defeating the Bretonnians, as well as the forces of Arcane the Black, before at the end making our first foray into Skaven territory. Now unfortunately the last battle we fought in the ambush against us by the Skaven led to my forces being a bit underpowered, so I decided at the end of the episode to head back towards the palace over here in order to reinforce, and before recording we skip forward 3 turns now, enough to be able to get 2 turns of replenishment as well as set up an ambush here, which as you can see was successful, meaning that the Skaven don't know that we're back in their territory. Now, having a look at what's in front of us, I think I come up with a bit of a plan while getting to this position. What I'm thinking is, we've got 2 small armies outside El Calibad, and if we click on El Calibad, we can see it's a level 5 stronghold, but the garrison is pretty poor. I mean, they do have some storm vermin, and I know behind here is a, oh Christ, what are they called? They're catapults, basically. So they have a few defenses, but nothing really we can't fight. So what I'm thinking is if we can try and take out both these armies this turn and take the settlement, that will give us a good defensive position then to be able to deal with any counter-attacks by the Skaven, as well as be able to expand outwards in our next turn. And hopefully get some replenishment as well from all the fighting we're going to do. Now, before we actually start off, I want to grab my guy, Baba here, because I did see an army marching up here towards Bel Aliad, and I want to see if we can 1, spot it, and 2, find out any more. So if we, in fact, let's ask you to go and search the ruins. Might as well try and level him up while we're doing it. And that is the army I spotted, I think. Yeah, Corporal. Right, what did you have? Ooh. So these guys have got Giselles as well as Warp Fire Throwers. These can be annoying to deal with, especially if you've got a clump of your troops. But we shall see about that. What else do you have, by the way? An Assassin, an Eshin Sorcerer, and a Warlord. Okay. Alright, what about you guys? Some Triads, Warp Grinders, okay. Let me just double check. Okay, go back to my stance. Okay, what I'm thinking is we take out one of these armies through Lightning Strike. Looking at the 2, I would say probably go for this one here. And then what did you have?
No, you failed.
Okay, a couple of things, but nothing really, again, to worry about. What we could try and do, I guess, is if we can either attack the settlement directly and bring these guys in as a necessary reinforcement, but we can deal with both armies then in one go. Or if we've got the movement after taking out this army, we could potentially try and attack the army outside the city, bring the garrison out, and then we can fight them there without having to take the walls. But if we do that, then we'll have to deal with any survivors then retreating back into El Calibad. Okay, we'll come back to that. Let's actually go after this army here first of all. Now, it should be a pretty straightforward fight, but since I need as many of my troops as possible to survive, I want to fight this battle myself. And, wow, even now the game has given us about 50-50 for taking on the entire enemy force, including the 2 armies and the garrison. But no, let's go for Lightning and... Okay. Do I want to then auto-resolve? Nah, we've seen us take quite a few casualties in an auto-resolve, so I'm tempted to actually fight the battle myself, see if we can kill off as many of their troops as possible, and leave us with a number of troops available and to go after the next stage. So in that case, let's give this to the Desert Dogs, and I guess I'll see you guys on the battlefield. Welcome everyone to the battlefield. Now, as you can see, it's not the most favourable of terrain for us, given that there's a large hill between us and the enemy, which stopped us from actually knowing where they were, until on my left flank I started moving the Desert Dogs up, just to try and spy out the enemy and see what they were doing. And bearing in mind as well, we are fighting Clan Eshin, which means they have a number of units like Gutter Runners and Deathstalkers, is that what they're called? Deathstalkers? Death Runners? One or the other. But they have the ability to hide, so it's a bit difficult, but we did at this point start spotting a couple of enemy units moving around, mainly like the slaves over here and that. But these guys were out of my view, but that's fine. Once I knew where they were, I was still going to bring them back fairly soon. Now, the enemy decided to start things off by spawning some clan rats right by my artillery. A good move by the AI. But unluckily for them, they were next to Naimi here on his war elephant. So he was just able to charge in, and thanks to causing terror, cause him to retreat really, really quickly. Now, as they try to pull away now from my artillery pieces, I blast him with a fireball, and just get him to chase after them. Thanks to having Foe Seeker, he can boost up his speed, so he's actually faster than they are, despite their bonus. So as he's chasing them down then, we've got even the Howder over here with the Ravager firing away and doing a few casualties as well. But as he's doing that, you can see now the Desert Dogs have arrived along with Cephalus, and given how small the enemy force was, I started trying to move my forces to try and encircle them the best I could. Now, they tried to spawn another Clan Rats unit to try and disrupt the line, but again, they chose to spawn it right next to the Ravager of Kasaba, meaning that we were able to deal with them easily, allow my Mad Mulan Aklan's Death Giselles to get in a position to provide flanking support over there. Now, while we were doing that, unfortunately, Rafik did suffer a miscast, but he was able to stop a whole bunch of units in their tracks thanks to using quicksand, meaning we were able to get the charge against them. And very quickly, as you can see with the cavalry coming around in the behind, we're going to be outflanking them really, really soon. And because the enemy are all nicely bunched up, you just saw a pendulum going across here, and then a fire infrit just going to town on some of the warp grinders just here. Now, this isn't the entire enemy force. Over on my right flank, you can see that we've got a few units here, but during the battle itself, I had no idea where they were. I knew they were somewhere, but they weren't appearing. So we do have some over here, Night Runners, we've got Gutter Runners, the Assassin over here. But just in case they were going to try and come up on my right flank, I started setting troops up a bit ready to try and deal with them. Thinking these ones are actually fighting enemies and getting in a position to outflank. But the bowmen were just here in case there was any movement. And just then, in fact, we uncover them. So while the fight's going on quite well for us in the centre, we've already caused a bunch of units to shatter. Here in the main front, we've still got a number of units just fighting on in there. But to be honest, I felt we had the main advantage in this fight, so as we uncovered the new enemies, I started bringing in my Desert Dogs and the Siparhis over here to deal with them. I've got my Spearmen and now making a front line just to try and present a more harder target for them than my Bowmen, who are already going to town on this one unit of Clan Rats that spawns, doing a ton of damage to them, but we're now going to have some magical reinforcements. Our Fikas turned up because I was hoping to try and catch a number of them in a quicksand, in order to make it so we didn't have to try chasing after them while they are faster. But unfortunately, I think I was only able to catch one unit. You'll see him in a minute. He's just about to cast a spell now, with the assassin coming in, arrows sticking out of him. Can you see that? Arrows poking out of his body, but it's okay. He's knocked him down. He's trying to chase after the vessel carriers. But then, of course, Sultan Jaffar has arrived. He's going to go after them, and that groan means that serpent spirit that we've got trapped inside his staff really goes to town on the units just over here. While they're doing that, then we've got another pendulum going straight across here with the units trapped, and we're bringing in my cavalry just to try and finish them off. And with that, that's going to be way too much for them. We've managed to secure the right flank quite easily, leaving the only thing left over here in the centre. Well, for quite some time we've got two units of Triads and their Warlord hanging on in there, despite the fact that they are heavily outnumbered, and we've got like our Desert Spirits over here just going to town on the Triad unit right here. But they're still hanging on quite well, even the Warlord, which is starting to waver as we're inflicting more and more casualties. If I hover over the bar at the top, you can see that they outnumbered us a little bit, but we managed to do quite a lot of damage to them. And it won't be any moment now, with our troops surrounding their Warlord, despite his best efforts, that he's soon going to shatter, and then he's going to cause everyone else then to chain routes. Just need to hang on in there a little bit longer. But while they're doing that, we are just chasing down their remaining units over here with the cavalry. We've got spearmen chasing after them, although it's not that useful, and even our Figas decided to join in. But there we go, back here now, the enemy has shattered, and it's a chain rout victory for us. But I decided to try and chase down as much of the enemy as possible, given the fact that they were just in normal stance. So Sultan Jaffar was hanging around. I tried to get him to cast some spells here and there, and in particular to go after the Eshin Triads right here. Now he's not going to be able to keep up with them necessarily, but between the arrows on his howdah, as well as the fact he can cast spells, he pretty much wipes them out. But while he's doing that, you can see my fire infant's over here chasing down some enemies. Everybody else is just pretty happy to stay where they are. The cavalry is finishing off over on the right flank, and it's safe to say it's a victory to us. So, let's quit the replay and go back to the campaign map. So there we go, guys. A decisive victory for us. We didn't kill as many as I would have liked, to be honest, in that fight. But we managed to kill a number of them, including, I will point out, one of the Triads, and the assassin as well, Metastorm. That's a name for a assassin, isn't it? For Skaven assassin? Metastorm. Wow. What we're going to do now, though? I'm thinking we'll take a little bit of extra gold. I think the replenishment for us is good enough that an extra 5% penalty doesn't really matter. Damn. I was hoping they would retreat a little bit more than that, because now... Ooh, Tormentor Sword. That's quite useful, it can stop enemies from running away, and, as you can see, reduce their melee attack. Puts, Jaffar here in the middle of a battle line, and he should be able to secure things quite nicely. But you've picked up that and that, okay. Yeah, I was hoping they could retreat a little bit more, because then we could have tried taking the city and this army as well. The two of them combined might make things a bit more difficult. Okay, what I'm thinking then is... Can we... No, we can't reach it. I don't know if you can see just behind here. Yeah, it looks like we're just slightly out of range of going after that army. So what I'm thinking is we'll just go straight for the city itself. Let's have a quick look at the bounce bar. It is against me. How effective are these troops going to be if they get involved in combat? I mean... I'd rather deal with them afterwards, especially since we take the city they can't replenish. So yeah, if we'd use Lightning Strike and just focus on the garrison, that may make things easier. Yeah, we'll go after the city itself, and we'll go after these men in the following turn. If we don't take too many casualties as well from the fight, then we'll be in a position to be able to defend the city against any forces that come our way and try to attack us. So let's fight the battle now and see how we do. Welcome everyone to the Battle of El Calabat. Now, as you can see, I've started the battle by moving all my infantry up towards the walls. The plan was to try and storm them as quickly as we can so we can get troops inside the walls and be in a position to open up the gates and then go after the Plague Claw catapults, as well as the Warblock engineer over here, whose name, if I remember right, is Naglost. Now, while they're hovering around in there, we're just busy charging forward, using Naimi here as a bait target, essentially. Given his amount of health and armor, he's a much better target for the ranged units like the slingers and that to go after rather than my infantry. And, well, the Plague Claws tried to do the same, but luckily caught a bunch of their troops instead. Now, to try and disrupt my line, you can see some clan rats were spawned just as my troops were getting into position to start putting up ladders. They charged into my troops from the rear, and they're starting to do a bit of damage. But as soon as they were spawned, I started moving both elephant units over there. Now, I decided to change my mind about Sultan Jaffar. He's heading back over here, whereas Naimi now is going to charge in and just do enough damage to start getting them to retreat. They was again shot at from behind, from something, I'm not too sure what, probably the Giselles here. But very quickly we've got them retreating, especially after he's killed 17 of them in one go. Good on you, I must say. But as they're retreating, I try and blast a fireball in their direction, slightly missing them, but what can you do? But with that threat now cleared up, we can start going after the garrison on the wall. Now, a lot of my forces are making their way up onto here, including to go after these clan rats. We've got more troops going all along here, and particularly here made me laugh. Because it almost looks to me like these Skaven warriors, so these storm vermin, are just trying to avoid us. It's like they're trying to hide them around so they don't face us. If we can't see them, they're not there. But eventually they realise that plan isn't going to quite work, and so they'll turn around and charge right into my warriors as they, in fact, here we go. Charging straight in and doing some damage as my troops are still making their way up the ladders. But reinforcements are on their way. Now in the centre here, rather than climbing up on the walls, Jaffar is going to town with a pendulum going across some of the units, and then that serpent spirit being temporarily unleashed and doing a ton of damage to the units over here. We already got one unit of slingers actually shattered at this point, and the others are quite badly damaged too. Now another unit is spawned right over here, disrupting my advance because they're taking out troops that are trying to make their way up the wall. But luckily for me though, we do have the Giselles nearby and the artillery over here, which I originally placed just as a way to try and draw a unit or two over to the side. They're going to start firing on the enemy's position here. In fact, you just saw the first bolt from the Aradar, meaning that we'll be able to deal with that quite nicely sooner rather than later. But at this point as well, the walls are basically taken, and all we've got really left to do is the 2 units up here, as well as the bodies to try and retreat off the walls themselves. Now, at this point I thought, given the amount of damage we've done down here, I'd figured we'll try our best to get the gates under control so we can bring in our cavalry as well as our leaders on elephants. But it didn't want to happen. Right? For some reason, every time I give my troops orders to come off the walls and even go around here in order to try and get there rather than just going straight through, it just didn't want to do it. They were just getting stuck right here. In fact, you can see 2 of the units I sent to try and do that very job. Now, the plague claw catapults are firing away over here, and I realised this is starting to become a threat. So I did send in a couple of spearmen that was left on the left to go after them, but they're in for a rough time. Between the crews of the catapults as well as the warlock engineer Naglost, they're going to take a ton of damage, mainly from the warp lightning that's going to be shot down every so often. But by going after them, though, it stops the catapults from going after my troops bunched up on the walls, and it's going to help us out. Now at this point now, finally, after giving it several orders to try and do so, we've managed now to get some troops down on the ground, eventually to head over towards the gatehouse. But while they're doing that, the Desert Spirit's going to town. We've managed to get these to shatter. These are starting to retreat. And I did try throughout the battle to summon the Fire Inflict to try and support it. But for some reason, I can't target the ground with it. Like, I can understand some spells you don't fire on the walls, that makes perfect sense. But for some reason, this counts as ground, and we can't cast a spell across the walls. I presume it's like you can with the undead, right, in order to make it so you don't spawn zombies inside. You have to get in first. But still, it was annoying that I could summon this one in, but not the other one. But maybe it could have been because of our feet being on the walls when we summoned him in. But, anyway, at this point now, the battle is pretty much coming to its end. We have managed to get the crew of the catapults to start retreating away. We are going to suffer, unfortunately, another warp lightning right in the middle of my bunched up troops. We've taken a ton of damage in this fight. But it's not going to be too long now. We've basically cleared the walls. We've got 1 unit of storm vermin trying to retreat off. And over here now is the final unit. The warp-locked engineers decided to retreat, and the battle is won. We're just going to try and chase after a couple of the units, and then I remembered it's a siege assault, meaning we don't have to chase them down. So with that, a decisive victory for us, and the city now belongs to us as well. So there we go, another decisive victory. I have to say, quite impressed now with the amount of damage we've been able to do with Sultan Jaffar because of us focusing more on magic, which I think we're going to continue to do for the campaign. So we'll do this. Ooh, 10,000 gold, or 8,500 if we loot and occupy. That is certainly tempting, but then we'll be spending probably about that much just trying to repair all the buildings. Let's go ahead and occupy. Ooh, looks very nice now, doesn't it? I picked up a sword of battle, okay. And we can now upgrade all of our characters. We should get a full bit of replenishment. We'll just have to keep an eye on these two armies when it comes to the end turn phase. Because even though they're quite weak, all we need is for one of them to come and attack us. And then we'll miss out on our replenishment in that. We'll have to chase them down. So, let's upgrade our characters. I think that should be our first priority now. So, Jaffar, instead of going for long there, let's have a quick look here. So we did Storm of Magic for the cooldown. Okay. Let's cast Chance. Having that for cheaper spells would be quite handy as well. Centered Retinues. Hero Capacity. Okay. Let's go for, in fact, another point in the Feeble Info. Oh no, I'll tell you what. Let's just focus on quantity of magic. So let's go over to Arcane Efficiency. Making spells much cheaper to cast is going to be useful. So we'll have that for you. Naimi, let's give you Scarred Veteran. Just a point there would do. Now in hindsight, if we had the time, I could have taken both Jaffar and Naimi off their elephants in order to get more involved in the combat, rather than just waiting outside the walls where, well, Naimi couldn't do a single thing, whereas Jaffar at least was able to rely on his magic. So something to bear in mind for the future. But the annoying thing is it does take a turn for you to swap mounts or to come off a mount, so it's something we'll just have to deal with, I think, really. But as for you, let's give you Ward of the One, just to spend a point, I guess. And then let's see what we can do here. We have 3 building slots available. Okay, we're going to take a while for that to be done. Cinnabar Mining and a Grand Yasir. So we've got a bit of income coming in from the slaves here. Right. Oh, and we can pick up Pit Fighters and Sharka Slaves. Now, I had noticed, and I forgot to mention it until now, but the unit cards have been updated. They do look much cooler now. And just to show here. Yeah, these guys have been upgraded as well, haven't they? Yeah. That's really nice. It's good to see. They did a good job there, I think. But anyway, let's focus on here. So we got that. I think defenses will definitely be a good place to go, so we'll spend some money there. And then let's go for a Shisha Den in order to start getting our hands on some public order. Now, as for whether or not I'm going to turn this into an economy province or a... We probably will go for economy, because we do have 2 ports here, don't forget, and Elven Colony in particular does increase the amount of income we get compared to a standard one. So I think the Land of the Dervishes is going to become an economy province for us. But we shall wait and see for the moment. You can continue replenishing, everything else is fine. Have we still got our trade agreements, actually? With... Yes, we do, okay. Is anybody else we can try and talk to? Sentinels, the Pirates, Radcliffe Dynasty. And don't forget, thanks to us defeating Ark in the Black, we actually got a diplomatic bonus with the Tomb Kings. So we could go for the Radcliffe Dynasty. But then they will also be our next target once we've probably taken on Sudenburg. I know we should really go after the Dwarves, but I like the idea of just having a trade partner there. Maybe we'll come back to it. I mean, we also got Talakwa down here with Tic-Tac-Toe, so that's something to consider. You've got 2 regions left, but you're still quite powerful. We'll have to keep an eye out for that. But Sudenburg for the moment. Are you willing to give me trade?
Not possible.
No. Well, screw you. Alright, what about you?
What do you need? It's very, very good.
There we go. That's at least a bit of extra money coming in. We'll take it. Alright, let's see what the Skaven do next. This also allows me to mention, if you guys haven't checked it out yet, the new announcement has been made regarding the new DLC coming out, the Wood Elves one I mentioned at the beginning of the campaign. Apparently, the date it's been given is actually December, so I was a little bit off with my estimate, but one of those things. Now this, though, is not looking good. We've got multiple armies coming in to attack us. Okay, apart from you. Okay, that's good. This is good. because they've actually come out and haven't attacked us, we can attack them using Lightning Strike. The only thing is, we're going to have to be a bit careful because of the fact that we've taken casualties in that last siege. But otherwise, I think we might be okay in this situation. We'll have to see. But yeah, anyway, the update is coming out in December for the new, DLC, and no doubt the update to the game itself. And I'm looking forward to it. I think I will be doing a campaign on it compared to the previous DLCs, just because they're the Wood Elves. I like the Wood Elves. Maybe it would encourage me when I get around to doing Age of Sigmar to try out a Sylvaneth army. So I'm trying to wrap my head around the different factions in Age of Sigmar compared to the Warhammer world. But anyway, let's tick through these. Oh, that would be as handy. If only we had that a couple more turns, because that success chance for an ambush would have been really nice. Shoddy workmanship, where's that? Oh, that's everywhere, is it? Crap. Okay. Let's deal with these. So what we got? We got this army here. We got a bunch of warp grinders, Eshin assassins, death runners, a bunch of Skaven slaves. Okay. Apart from these guys, it's not too bad. Over here, what we got here? Same basic strategy. And then we got these guys who are actually laying siege. Okay. Let's grab my army first. And let's see if we can lift the siege. I mean, we could just try and fight them all in one go, but I don't particularly want to do that. So let's just go after them one by one. Alright, we'll take the risk with this one. Oh wow, we even lost just one troop from that. Wow. Okay, we will execute these ones.
Who calls?
Alright, drive you guys away. And the other one? No. But we did pick up the Exterminator. Skaven are a disease, a cancer on this world. You are a plague, and we are the cure. A nice one. So, we do get a little bonus now when fighting against Skaven with the army, which is great. Are you gonna reset the camera for me? No. Okay. What do we want to try and go for, then?
No, you
Don't think we need to particularly go after these. I think going after one of these would be the better option. Let's try.
Not enough warp stuff.
Okay, the Warlords.
Spirits speak.
Let's try and go after you guys. No particular reason, I just don't want to fight the Giselles right now. So, let's push out and attack you. Banspar is against me, wow. I didn't think the army was that impressive, to be honest, but I will have to fight this one again. Oh, we do have some reinforcements coming in, although, wow. On the one hand, that's a lot of reinforcements. On the other hand, it's not really that big a deal. But it does give us an extra bombard, at least, so we got a bit more artillery. A war elephant might come in handy, just to try and break some of the attacks. And we do have other units like these nomads. Do you have no, you're just infantry, right. Okay, let's just go back down to the field. We'll have to fight this battle anyway, so see you guys down there. Welcome everyone to a rather familiar battlefield, as we fought another battle right at the beginning of the episode on this very same map. But we defeated them on that map, and I think it will be the same this time. Now I have to wonder, do you think these guys get a bit tired of carrying this vessel around all the time? I mean, I surely would if I was in their position, but oh well. But anyway, while we're on here, let's actually bring back some stats. You can see the enemy are right behind the sand dunes, so I had no idea where they were. But at the time I was busy bringing in the reinforcements that we got from the garrison at El Calabad. Now as you can see there, they are very, very, well, no numbers to them whatsoever really, so I wasn't planning to use them in the battle until this happened. As you can see, a clan rat unit spawned right in the middle of them. Fortunately though, it wasn't going to be much. Thanks to the war elephant behind them, that's also badly damaged. They started to scarper pretty quickly, and rather than chase them down with any of my other cavalry units, we had 2 units of 6 Arabian Knights, which I felt was more than enough just to keep them on the back foot until they retreated off the map. And given that they are a spawned unit, it wasn't like we had to worry about them. So we'll just let them chase them down, and as you can see in the distance though, the other Skaven forces have come in over the hills.
Retreat! Surrender!
Yes, you retreat and surrender, you filthy rats. Flee, flee, flee! I have to admit, Skaven has always made me laugh when you listen to them talk. They really do. But as we dealt with that one, another one has arrived over here. Now, they did target one of my weaker spearman units, which is all well and good, but as you can see, Naimi is here on his war elephant and very quickly just decimates the entire unit. So they're starting to retreat, a fireball was shot off and then towards the main horde, and gonna get a couple of them, at least one or two of the teams back here, so that's a good result. But as we get closer and closer, we're getting ready to receive them. Arrows are being shot off, my deaf Giselles over here are firing and done a number on the war grinders. But that serpent spirit is summoned straight across, and you can just see the amount of damage that was just done across every unit pretty much around here. It was enough that a number of them have already started to retreat, which is great by me. Another unit has decided to be summoned in, this time going into the back of my Arabian warriors, but it's again not going to be much of an issue for us. These are good quality troops, and we have got Jaffar right next to them, who weakens the enemy with a pendulum going straight across the battle line. Now a bit further over this side, we've got our units charging in to deal with some clan rats and that. The Giselles are still firing away against that Warblock grinder team up here on the top, who've now shattered because of it. We do have an assassin making its way over here, but for some reason I think they, if I remember right, they actually avoided the Giselles, which is great by me. Now all that circles popping up then was me trying to cast Sandstorm. Sorry, Quicksand. It's trying to remember all the different sands. But I was trying to cast them over here, and then I thought, you know what, we've got a bunch of enemies running away over here. We're better to use it here. Allowing Jaffar now just to go and do a number on them. We also summon in a fire inflict just to try and do some extra damage. We've already got units retreating away up here, as you can see, and we'll be helping out with a nice fireball any minute. Up here now, the Desert Dogs are chasing after some Gutter Runner Slingers, who are actually fairly decent in combat still, but nothing compared to the Desert Dogs. So we'll soon be getting them to shatter pretty quickly, and likewise on the entire left flank, we've got everything nice and secure. All good for us. As we head now towards the centre, you can see, again, units are just starting to waver and shatter at this point. The Inflict is chasing down some units. We've got their assassin getting shot at by my bowman. We do have some triads hanging on here, but very quickly their morale goes down, and it's soon going to be a chain rout for us. Now at this point, I was going to consider starting to chase the enemies down. You can see in a minute with Sultan Jaffar that with this nice line of enemy units right here, I'm actually going to summon a pendulum to try and do some extra damage, and especially since they're running much faster than he is able to keep up. So we've got artillery firing as well. One shot from the bombard just missing those warp grinders, and here comes the pendulum to do a nice bit of extra damage. And then I remembered that these guys started off in forced march, and since we attacked them, it means that basically the army is going to be wiped out because we are victorious. So it took me a second or two to remember that, and then as soon as the enemy lord is dead, I thought, okay, I think we're done here. So got some artillery just finishing off the assassin, and there you have it. This is the point I ended the battle with a decisive victory for us. So I think at this point, let's go back to the campaign map. So there we go guys, another decisive victory, which I'm quite happy with, some more cash. We will go ahead, execute captives, and there we go. One army completely defeated. I picked up a hunter, hedge wizard, ooh, trickster shard. That could come in handy against certain enemies. But what do I want to do now? How much movement do we have? A lot. So we very well got the option to go and finish off this army here. I mean, we took very few casualties in that last fight. So I'm thinking, yeah, we'll go deal with these guys. If we can, then, kill off these guys as well. I mean, what do they have? Skaven slaves? I think it might be in our best interest. Yeah, just kill them both off, retreat back to El Calabad, and then we can sort out replenishing then, ready to finish off Bel Aliad, or even head down south now to take the Elven Ruins. Yeah, let's go and deal with this army. What's the balance bar tell us? Again, balance bar against us. Now we saw what happened last time, so I'm going to disagree personally. So let's go ahead, we'll fight the battle once more and see how we do. Right everyone, welcome to the next battle. Now this one, for a nice change of pace, actually takes place in a rather cool map. It's in the middle of this big valley with gullies going all everywhere. It just looks really, really cool, especially with effects like the waterfall coming down here. The cascading effect really looks cool, I must say. But anyway, we're not here to admire the scenery, we're here to kill some Skaven. And the AI actually cocked things up a little bit for themselves. You can see, if we head over here, that the main force is on this side of this big, well, pit, basically. Or gully, I guess you could say, whereas another few units are over on this side. Now, given the distance between them, it's going to take a little while for these guys to actually get involved in the battle, which is only a good thing, because it means we can focus my entire force now on a smaller section of theirs. Now, because of my reinforcements coming in, rather than just deploy straight along here like usual, I set up over here, facing the enemy. I did send one unit, though, of spearmen because of them taking quite a few casualties in the previous battles. I've pulled them off then to actually retreat off the map, so we can keep them alive and keep them with their experience. But while they're doing that, my reinforcements are coming on, and very quickly, because of how close some of the Skaven are, I'm trying to pull them over to behind my line as quickly as we can. Obviously, the faster units, like the Knights, are doing a good job, but the others aren't going to be so much, including the Bombard. Now at this point, I've sort of realised, right, I'm not going to be able to get back over to my line in time. So I essentially try to use it as a distraction tool, just to try and get some of the enemy units to chase after it. But while they're doing that, you can see another clan rat unit spawned. Luckily for me, though, that Naimi was over here to once again drive them away. And we're going to be sending off a couple of the knights in that, just to make sure they retreat off the map. It's just annoying when they turn around and try and come back after us once again. And in fact, never mind, they retreated off the map before we actually needed to send the knights in. But while they've been doing that, the enemy force is getting closer and closer. We're going to have another unit spawn in just a minute right here, where the garrison force is. In fact, with that notification, it'll be any minute now. Ta-da! But rather than actually deal with them with any of my main units, I just decided to send the entire garrison force to fight them. I was thinking between that and the terror ability of the elephants, it should be enough to get them to retreat. Now on the left flank, you can see that my diversionary tactic worked with the Grand Bombard. They sent off 3 units, including the Rattling guns, which I didn't notice they had until they started firing in my main line in a few minutes. But for the moment though, I was just happy to deal with the main ones over here. Now to try and help out, we're going to have a Sandstorm ability just summoned over here. And I figured it'd be a nice sort of setup for us to go after them. First of all, the Pendulum. And then as for no, we'll swip over to the Serpent Staff. We'll do a bit more damage that way, and we can always use the Pendulum afterwards. So we go ahead and do that and just decimate that unit over here of Clan Rats. So you can see they're pretty much wiped out then. And then of course the Pendulum goes across to do a bit of extra damage, and before you know it, the centre is looking much more secure. Now behind the line, you can see that I brought my cavalry in, because they did have their Warlock Giselles firing away at us. And I thought we'll send some cavalry after them. The others then, my heavy cavalry is going to come charging in to try and break up the centre. It's going to do an excellent job of that alongside the elephants. And already we can see that some of the units are starting to retreat, just because the sheer amount of terror-causing units we have. It all helps out for us, you know? Over here we've got Giselle still firing away ourselves, our Death Giselles, just trying to do a bit of damage here and there, like with the Clan Rats there. But on the whole, we're doing okay. We're doing pretty alright. Now my Desert Dogs at this point were chasing after the Giselles, killed enough to shatter, and then this is when I realised, oh no, we have Rattling guns to deal with. Because I was wondering, what on earth is shooting them? So, rather stupidly perhaps, I actually told them to go after the Night Runners instead. But I figured between the fact they're tired and they've been attacked in the rear, it should be enough to cause them to retreat, and it will. But while they're doing that then, my heavy cav are going to start charging in now to deal with the Rattling guns. And while they're all doing that, here's the rest of the enemy force still making their way over very, very slowly. No doubt not helped by the fact they are really tired for the forced march. Now, as at this moment, I realised, oh no, the Ravager happens to be nearby. It's actually chased after an enemy unit for quite some distance, so I decided to start pulling it back. And while that's happening, our first assault basically has gone extremely well for us. We got units of Triads getting retreated now with the War Elephant chasing it down. Jaffar's going after the, the Sorcerer? Yeah, that's it, the Sorcerer right here. We got more Rattling Guns here who are going to start to recover their morale and be in a position to attack us in just a minute. I keep, again, annoyed by these. At the end of the day, the Rattling Guns didn't really kill that many of my troops, but it felt during the battle like they did kill a lot, just simply because they kept coming back, and then every so often I'd be turning around, and like now, they just stopped to turn around and start firing on Jaffar. So all of a sudden I see these green bullets just getting shot across here against my troops and thinking, what on earth is going on there? But it's all well and good. At this point now, what we've got left is their Warlord. The Naimi over here is doing an excellent job. It's hard to tell from this distance if it was the War Elephant or not. There you go, this Jaffar's getting shot at yet again by the Rattling Guns. But not only that, we have the other units coming in, like that came from the other side. The Ravager is doing its job, just keeping these 3 units distracted. It'll do an excellent job there. Jaffar's busy trying to get the Arcane Conduit going because I wanted to try and use a Pendulum over here against him. And thanks to our skills, the Pendulum is able to be cast much often? Is that even a way? No, very often in combat, thanks to the reduced cooldown and the cheaper ability spells we can cast with it. But the Firing Foot now is charging in to deal with the Warblock Fire Throwers. I didn't want to deal with those. And at that point, the entire army chain routes, leaving the victory and the battlefield to us. Now, at this point, we can just safely go back to the campaign map, securing the fact that our position at El Calabad is secure, because we've wiped out nearly every army nearby. But let's go back to the campaign map. There we go, another army eliminated. I think this time I will take some extra cash. I mean, 1,200 is not too bad. We'll take that. And that should be the entire army taken out. We'll go after the survivors of Warp Tech here. If we skip through those. Alright, give it a second. We'll just finish off like that. Nice and easy. I didn't take a single casualty either. We'll take that. Why not? Let's move you guys back, back to El Calabad. Let's get through these. Oh, research rates, just what I want to get actually. But I'm very happy with that turn. We managed to eliminate a hell of a lot of enemy forces, and we should be in a good position now with regards to the Skaven. That I think we'll have this in the bag now. Now, during the end turn phase, the Greybeard Prospectors actually burnt down Bel Aliad, so what I'm tempted to do, unless they get any smart ideas, is to quickly recruit a Lord up here. Now, have we able to... Oh, yeah, there they are, right. We'll take you, Fahim Jahani, and I'm going to ask him then to quickly pop over and see about colonizing it. It'll take 2 turns, but... hopefully he can get there in time, assuming, of course, they don't try taking it back themselves. You'll get your replenishment back, which is fantastic. Do we want to try and get... what the hell is that? A Jiao Juggernaut. I want to say from the picture it looks like an elephant, but it looks like a really big elephant with a big gun on it. Oh, I kind of want to try it out. Oh, screw it. Why not? Why not? Right, Aradar, you've been doing okay so far, but to be honest, I prefer the Grand Bombard. So we're going to swap you out. We're going to check out what this thing is. Wow, that really did take a hit to our income, but I don't care. It looks cool. And if you can't pick the coolest thing in the game, why bother, eh? Right, we're going to go for paved roads, because again, economy focus, and we will get that. Just as case, and then up here, okay, we've got a bunch of upgrades we can do. Fivus, at the moment Fivus is okay. I'm pretty happy to not worry about upgrading the settlement yet. We will upgrade here though, just because it is isolated by itself. And, oh, archaeology. Then the Hekaran excavation. Oh, that could come in handy. and then get the excavation of Amenententum's tomb, isn't it? Yeah. We'll go for a clay pit. Now let's try and get the excavation. I think that would be worth a little bit more to us. I mean, we'll have the diplomatic penalty, admittedly, from the Tomb Kings, but since we're planning to wipe them out in this campaign, it's not a big deal at all. And as for you, I don't know. What do we go for now with our Rafik? I guess boost income for the moment. I mean, not much else we can do with you. Sultan Jaffar. Let's give you now the last points in Arcane Efficiency. And then let's continue with Sandstorm. We'll focus next then, I think, on Doom and Darkness. Mirage is okay. I mean, it has its usefulnesses, but yeah, I think having the ability just to do some debuffs to the enemy with leadership, especially against Skaven, will be pretty good. And then for Karem, let's give you a point here and start working down Indomitable, unless... No, change plan. We'll go for Scarred Veteran and fully upgrading and training. Perfect. Alright, next one, Baba. Let's take the opportunity to search the ruins. Might get an event. Yes, okay. So if you haven't seen this one before, basically you just have to try and find the icon that's by itself. So like these two are together because they're the same shape. That's together, that's together, that's together, leaving the forked tongue here. And we picked up 1,000 gold and a Scroll of Aramar. I mean, it's a one-use spell. It could come in handy, but it's not the most, the most useful item. Most important thing is, though, he managed to get his level up, which is something. Alright, spread public order. Let's get you now assaulting garrisons. I think that would be a good next step. And of course, ooh, you look cool. He's had a little bit of a remodel, hasn't he? Right, we could... I mean, he hasn't really proven himself that useful as a campaign agent, despite his ability to assassinate and damage walls. Let's actually keep you around here. Just because you'll be able to boost up slave income, and given that this is also an economy center, well, it will be eventually as we start upgrading it some more. I mean, we'll be able to upgrade the palace in the following turn, and then start getting the slave buildings there. Yeah, we'll have a few options. And as for here, what do we want to get? Sacred Scriptures, extra leadership, could eventually lead to improved Askars. We can go for the Hasashin teachings for nomads. Increasing reload and missile damage, okay. Still want to find out how to get the vampire accounts. The Crypt of Abdul Ben Rachid. I don't know where that one is. Be really cool to find out, though. Let's see, casualty replenishments for the University Hospital. Okay, we'll have to keep an eye out for that. Extra income, camo units. I think we'll go for rank and file right now, just for the extra leadership, armor, and melee defense. For our infantry, that will allow them to secure the front line even more, while we try and do damage from behind it, like we've been doing. But yeah, I think that was a very satisfactory end 2 turns. I mean, it was just 2 turns, but we've fit a lot of stuff in it. We've pretty much wiped out Clan Eshin as a faction now. Yeah, they've still got 1 or 2 armies around. We know the Death Master is somewhere around Bor-Aliad. But yeah, otherwise, so far so good. Studenberg want a non-aggression pact. I'm going to tell them no, because we are going to be going after them, I think, as our next targets. Oh, Death Master is getting chased by the prospectors. Shame they didn't quite catch up, but what are they going to try to do? Oh, they're marching, right. Depending on what they do next, we might be able to catch Bor-Aliad soon. What are you guys doing? Ugh, Raiden. Wouldn't surprise me if we have a rebellion taking place there at some point. Ugh, it's going to be annoying. I mean, if it weren't for the fact that we are trying to conquer all the deserts, I would be tempted just to get rid of Xandri. But for the moment, we might as well just accept it's one of the things we have to deal with. It's an isolated region which seems to be surrounded by Tomb Kings. We've even got... Oh wow, these guys, the top knots, have done extremely good over here. I can't spot anything to do with Cetra and Khemri's forces around here. But anyway, guys, let's end things today. So, as always, thank you very much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and you do join me next time for some more Warhammer, as we will finish off Clan Eshin, I think, in the next episode, and then go after Sudenburg, so we can conquer the entire land of the Dervishes province for ourselves. And then we need to start looking into where to attack next. We do have options of heading down south, where we'll find factions like Talakwa, with Tic-Tac-Toe leading it, and so on. But to be honest, I feel tempted more to try and just continue in the desert, conquer all up here, and then we can swing down south and take on Kwak-Gar, as well as Tic-Tac-Toe and that. But let me know what you think in the comments, what we should do. But thank you for watching, guys, and I shall see you next time anyway. Goodbye for now.